Good morning, everyone. I was out in my yard today and I was weed whacking and weeding and doing a lot of work, and I kept discovering little things left in the tall, tall grass. I found things like leaves, rocks, even some toys, and it made me think of a job that we used to do in the classroom called sink versus float, or sink or float. So I found my clipboard and I got a piece of paper and I drew a line down the middle of the paper and I wrote sink or float. And I took all of those objects that I have and I put them in a basket and I found a container. Right here is Kai's container he brought me with crickets for Joe. So I need to return this back to Kai, but I thought it would be a perfect container to use, but you could use any sort of plastic bin, even a glass, anything that holds water to do your sink float demonstration. Okay, so I'm going to show you what objects I have, and we're going to guess if whether they're going to sink or float. All right, so first I'll show you, then you guess, and then we'll do it. And as we go, I will record it on my paper and draw a picture or write the word under sink or float. All right, here we go. I'm going to move this down so you can see my container better. All right, here is my container of water. And my first object I found in the yard was a leaf. Just a plain old brown leaf. It's actually from our eucalyptus tree, but it's brown because it fell from the tree and it was laying in the ground. So do you think this eucalyptus leaf is going to sink or float? Let's find out. Looks like it's going to float. So I am going to find a marker. I'm going to find a brown marker. And under my float, I'm going to draw a leaf. And I'm going to write the word leaf. My leaf floats. Okay, I'm going to leave it in there. And then the next thing I found was a hair tie. I'm always losing my hair ties. So let's see. Do you think it's going to sink or float? Let's find out. Oh, it definitely sunk. My hair tie does not float. I'm going to draw a round circle and write the words hair tie. Hair tie definitely is under the label sink. All right. The next object I found was a little toy Lego. I think Donnie's been missing this guy. He was out exploring in our garden. Okay, so do you think he's going to sink or float? He's pretty light. I'm going to think that he's going to float. He's made out of plastic. Let's see. Here we go. Ah, he floats. So I'm going to draw a little man. And I'm going to say Lego. He floats. You see, float. So far we have a leaf and a Lego that float and a hair tie that is under sink. All right, let's see. The next thing I found was a feather. Can you see that? It's a little feather from a bird. Now, we know that feathers are light. I'm thinking it's going to float. Let's find out. Yep, it floats. So far, we have, well, I'm not doing a great feather here. We have 3 things that float and only 1 thing that sunk. Feather. All right. We wrote feather under float. Okay, now I think you might have an idea about this next one. It's a baseball I found in my yard. Now, it's heavy. When you compare this baseball to the feather, it felt very heavy. So my guess is it's going to float. I mean, my guess is it's not going to float. It's going to sink. What do you think? Hey, that rhymes. Sink, think. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it in. And I'm going to let go. What? Why do you think it floats? I wonder. Think about it. Let me know. Why is the ball that's so much heavier than the feather floating? That's crazy. All right. One more thing to put under float. I'm going to draw a sphere. Remember the difference between a sphere and a circle is a sphere is 3-dimensional. Baseball. All right. Check it out. Look at all those things that float. Leaf, Lego, feather, and baseball. That poor hair tie is feeling kind of lonely. Okay. I'm going to choose something that I found that I think is going to sink. I found this shiny rock in our yard. Isn't that pretty? Okay, what do you think? It's heavy, but the baseball was heavy and it floated. So let's see. Oh, it definitely sunk. So I'm going to label that under sink. It's hard to draw a rock. So I'm just going to do my best. And I'm going to write the word rock. So now sink has 2. There's my rock. Right. I always get confused with this backwards. Rock. Okay. Now Ella ran out and she brought me this bead. I don't know if you can see. It's just a little hollow bead. Now a lot of times when things are hollow, they'll float. They're very light. They're not heavy. They're light. She said, I think it's going to float. I think it's going to float. So let's see. Yep, it floats. Yet another score for float. So that was a bead she uses. You guys use those beads all the time in class when you make your bracelets. Bead is under float. Okay. Now we're going to try a marble. Look at, where is it? There it is. Isn't that a pretty marble? I like to collect marbles. I have a jar filled with marbles. And this one made it outside. It's a good thing I didn't weed whack it. That would have gone shooting off. Okay. Sink or float? Let's find out. Oh, did you see that? It went straight down. That definitely is going to be put under sink. I'm noticing that my objects that are under sink are all round. Even the rock. Marble. Okay. Sorry, I always get the allergies in the morning. Marble is under sink. Okay, now, this toy looks very old to me. And it is a truck. Hold on, my computer always turns off after a while. It's a truck I found in the yard. Donnie has a lot of Hot Wheel cars and different cars. This one looks like it's a fire truck. And look at it. You could tell it's pretty dirty and it's been sitting in the grass for a long time. It's pretty heavy. It's hollow in some parts. I think even the back. No, the back doesn't open, but you can see through the window. Look at those flames. That's a pretty cool fire truck. Okay, we're going to see if it sinks or it floats. Here we go. Oh, straight to the bottom. That fire truck definitely sinks. So let's see. I just decided to stick with a brown marker, so it's just going to have to be brown. Fire truck. All right. I have 3 more objects. Look at all these objects. This one, I'm pretty sure you might have around the house since we live in Petaluma, and it is a wine cork. This is from a really great place called Jacuzzi. And it's made out of cork. It's very light. So my guess is it's gonna float. Let's find out. Oh, the cork floats. The cork is in the shape of a cylinder. See, look, it looks like it has a circle on one side and a circle on the other side. It's 3-dimensional. It is a cylinder. So that floats. So I'm going to do one more. Cork. So there's my cork on that side, and there's my fire truck on that side. And our last one for, oh no, there's 2 more. 2 more. Do you guys know what this is? It's a wiffle ball. These are what we used to use with Donnie and his big bat that he had. And our neighbors love to hit wiffle balls. They always end up in our yard. This might be one of our neighbors, and I might need to throw this over the fence. But let's first see if it sinks or if it floats. It's hollow. It's light. It's plastic. Oh, that's weird. Do you see that? It floats, but it doesn't float very well. But I'm still going to log it under floating because it's not all the way to the ground. It's like kind of hanging out in the middle. That's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to draw a circle, a sphere with my holes in it. And I think Wiffle Ball? Gosh, I haven't written that word in a really long time. Wiffle Ball is under float. How many things so far do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that float. And then under sink, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things that sink. There are more things that float, and there are less things that sink. Okay, last one. For now, everywhere I look, I see things that I could try. A pencil. Now, this pencil is very light, and it's made out of wood. I'm thinking it's going to float. It has some metal on the end to hold the eraser, and there's lead inside. But let's find out. It's a little crowded in the floating area. I'm going to kind of scoot these things over, and we're going to put the pencil in. Well, that was simple. It floats. The pencil floats. I think that the floating won. I don't even have room to really draw the pencil. Pencil. I put it on the side. So, there you have it. sink, or float. It's a really fun experiment you can do at home. Find any container that you want and collect them. I had a tray that I collected them in, and now I have a little scarf I'm going to use right now to take everything out because I don't want to just leave it here. We have to clean up after ourselves. And I'm going to find out places to put them. So we had the pencil floated, the baseball floated. That was the most surprising to me. Wiffle ball floated. The Lego man floats. A cork floats. A leaf floats. And a feather floats, even when it's very wet. The toy truck sinks. It sunk. And the rock sunk. And the hair tie sunk. And the marble sunk. And last, if I can get it with my left hand, the bead sunk. I have to tell Ella because Ella thought for sure it was going to float. And then I'm going to dump this water in some of my thirsty plants because the weather is so much warmer now. So I will find a home for all of those objects and I will go dump out the water where it goes. And I will be back to read you a story and also show you something with the parts of a butterfly. And then today we're going to Zoom at noon in pajamas if you want to. I'm already out of my pajamas. It's kind of silly to Zoom at noon in your pajamas, but we are all stuck here at home, so why not? All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.